Hello and welcome. This is Dr. Anil Joshi. Welcomes you to his series Learn Radiology with Dr. Anil Joshi. Today's topic is radiophysics and it particularly targets at technology courses and also for the technicians for knowing what is briefly the physics behind the X-rays. That is the X-ray production, X-ray film, darkroom, processing, how the image is formed, how a latent image is formed, how a final image is formed, and all these things we are going to see in part 1 and part 2. Since the topic is extensive, we have to divide it into part 1 and part 2. Coming briefly, what is in part 1? Part 1, radiophysics includes history, that is historical aspect. It is very briefly, it is mentioned. Second are the films, and third is the processing of the film. What happens exactly during the process of developing, fixing, etc. At the beginning, I want to disclose and acknowledge and disclaimer certain things. Most of the material is our teaching material, which we use every year to bring up the students. So also to increase the quality of the technicians in the department. Now, there are certain illustrations which are downloaded, which are free of royalty, and that also we have included in it. So we thanks those from whom we aspired it, but the honest intention was to use it for the teaching purposes and not for commercial purposes. Therefore, we have taken a royalty-free images or royalty-free material from the net that is freely available. Now let's go to the subject proper, that is radiophysics. First is the historical aspect. Now, history. By the time X-rays were discovered, photography was already an established art. So to document a X-ray that is produced was not a problem since the photography was already established. However, it was in very crude form, as we will be seeing it in detail once we go to the topic. Now, photographic films with a nitrocellulose base was already being marketed by George and Eastman. They were the initial pioneers in the process or in the field of films. Now, the first X-rays were discovered or recorded. After the discovery of first X-rays, the recording was done on a glass plates. These were coated with emulsion on one side only. So it is single coated glass plates which were used for initial workup of the X-rays. Now, the exposure dose was extremely high. The glass plates were used up until World War I, that is WW1. During World War I, nitrocellulose based films was found to be a more feasible choice for recording X-rays. This film was single coated, and that is because the coatation or emulsion was coated only on the single side. It was later discovered that double emulsion responded to the X-ray faster because the image is formed by both X-rays as well as visible light. So if we use intensifying screen on either side, the amount of light that is produced on either side will be much more, and sensitivity of film will be much higher if we use double coated film. The hue with nitrocellulose base film was its initial inflammable. Now, history. During World War I, nitrocellulose based films was found to be more feasible choice for recording X-rays since it was already in the use and it had already established its value. This film was a single emulsion. This film only had emulsion coating on one side. That is what we can call as single coated glass film. It was later discovered that double emulsion responded to X-ray faster. The film which had double coating from either side started responding better, resulting into reduction of the exposure. The flaw with nitrocellulose based film was it is easily flammable. So during the storage, there was a possibility that some accidents can occur and the films can get burnt. In 1924, cellulose triacetate replaced the nitrocellulose based films. So that was the first was it was glass, then it was the cellulose base, and then it was the ultimately will go to a polyester base. So these were the development of the film. In 1960, the first medical radiographic film using a polyester base was introduced. Obviously for two reasons. One thing is nitrocellulose based film was flammable, so they were catching fires. Its large storage was a problematic thing, versus polyester based film were much better in its quality, as we are going to see, and it has replaced easily the earlier cellulose based film. Now, X-ray films are the most important material used to decode the information carried by the attenuated X-ray beam when they are made to pass through the tissues. They capture the invisible image into a visible form. So, basic role of X-rays was, when it processed from the tissues, they should produce an image of the tissues which should be a reproducible, so that they should capture it and they should convert it into a visible form. So let us go to first topic, that is X-ray film. The main part of a film is radiation sensitive. That is the radiation sensitive, then photographically activated material made in the form of emulsion coated on the supporting material called a base. So film has got two components. One is a base and second is the coating. The coating is made by radiosensitive photographically active material. Now what are the types? I said what were because at most of the centers these type of films are now replaced by the CR or DR, and we have got separate cassettes for that. This is a historical technique, but at many centers still it is used, and we must know as a radiology person. Now, basis of coating: a single coating emulsion, double coating emulsion. That is, on the basis of coating, there can be film types which are divided into a single coated or double coated. Now, based on the use of a screen, they can be non-screen type and screen type. Screen type can be single screen and double screen. Now, based on the sensitivity, they can be blue sensitive, green sensitive, and panchromatic films. So these are the basic types of the films. Though historical, we should know about it, and we'll know where they were really having good applications. Now, radiographic film. Now here you are seeing that there is a base, that is a blue color. Then there is also a emulsion, which is a dark blue lined, and third is the super coating. Now each and every layer has got specific thickness, which is mentioned on the right side. Now what is the role of each and everything, we are going to know as we move ahead. Now base, it supports the fragile photographic emulsion. Photographic emulsion has to be uniformly coated to give a uniform quality of film, so it needs a base. Now here we have shown a base along with its thickness, how much it should be. Now film base requirements. What are the characteristics of a film base? It should be clear with low light absorption. So minimum light will be absorbed, that will result into the reduction in radiation dose, in which we are really concerned. So the clear with low light absorption should not produce visible pattern on the radiograph. That means a film base by itself should not cause a image or its pattern on the film. Otherwise that will be artifact. That is something which is not wanted by us, or what we are not targeting. Now strength, thickness and flexibility of the base must allow for ease of developing. Now for developing, we are going to use either manual or automatic. In both the types, there should be easiness, so that the film can be processed in nice ways and the image can be of good quality. Now must have dimensions, stability. So maintain size and shape during processing, handling and storage. Now as we are going to see further, we are going to use an automatic processor, where for the increase in speed of developing and fixing, or that is total processing time reduction, we use slightly higher temperature. So also films are required to be dried, and for this dryness we need some heating of the film. So it should sustain it, and it should have low flammability, for a simple reason that if we are going to store it, it should not cause a fire problem. Now what are the types of bases? A glass plate, what that is already in the historical and used in the past, thin layer of emulsion on one side. Then second is cellulose nitrate, used in 1914 till the World War I. This is inflammable and it can cause fire accidentally. Now cellulose triacetate was accepted or adopted in 1920. It is non-inflammable. And last is a polyester. Polyester was adopted in 1960, and most of the film which we have used or which were in our routine practice were of the polyester base. Now they had better dimensional stability and they were colorless. Dimethyl terephthalate, that is DMT, and ethylene glycol are brought together under low pressure and high temperature to form a molten polyester. This is a basic principle of polyester which is used in many other applications than in X-rays. Now it is staged into the sheets of uniform thickness and uniform transparency. Now it is slightly tinted blue. Now triacetate and polyester are clear and colorless. Adopted in 1933, the blue tint was adopted to the X-ray film in an effort to produce a film that was easier to look at. So we had better clarity when the images were slightly blue tinted. Then it causes less eye strain. So hours of radiology session, film reading session can be continued. Blue tint can be adapted to either to the base or to the emulsion. So it is easier for both emulsion as well as for the base. Now all the present X-ray films are blue tinted. Now here we are seeing emulsion, that is the dark blue with strips. Now gelatin. It is produced from cattle bones. So gelatin is a source from the animals. Advantages are it keeps silver halide grains. Then it can be well depressed on that, then prevents clumping of the grains. This is all as far as coating of the silver halides grains are concerned. Then developing solutions can penetrate grains rapidly without damaging the structure and the strength. Therefore, a true reflection of image was achieved and easily available in large and uniform quality at most of the places. Now let us go into the detail of crystals. Now silver halide is the material used for the emulsion. Now lights, what are the characteristics of it? A silver halide which we are going to use must be light sensitive. Then its composition are 90 to 99% silver bromide and 1 to 10% of silver iodide. It increases sensitivity. Now silver iodobromide crystals are precipitated and emulsified in gelatin. That is how they are prepared initially. First you have to form an emulsion containing silver iodobromide crystals. Then precipitation reaction involves addition of silver nitrate to the soluble halide to form a soluble silver halide, that is silver nitride, then potassium bromide coming into silver bromide plus potassium nitrite. The silver iodobromide crystals in the emulsion is the form of crystals suspended in a gelatin. So we have got a coating which contains a gelatin with the crystals of silver iodide. Now crystals are formed by ions of silver, bromide and iodide arranged in a cubic lattice. Now, let us see this crystal lattice. Crystal lattice is formed by silver, bromide and iodide as it is shown. The crystal size will be vary from 1 to 1.5 microns in a diameter. Each cubic centimeter of emulsion contains 6.3 into 10 raised to 9 crystals. A grain averages 1 to 10 million silver ions. Now let us see about the image formation proper. So we have a film which has a base. On the base, earlier it was cellulose, then it was replaced with a polyester. Polyester because it is a clear and it has a blue tint. Now, once this base is formed, we coat it with a emulsion. Emulsion contains silver, then iodine and bromine, that is in the form of a emulsion. They are radiosensitive and capable of forming an image. Now, how actually image is formed, we are going to see now. That is called a latent image. Initially, a latent image is formed. Latent image is not visible. Now, let's see how a latent image is formed. Remnant radiation interacts with the silver halide crystals, which are coated over the film, mainly by the photoelectric interactions. Photoelectric interaction is a process by which the radiation interacts with the silver halide crystals. The energy deposited into the film is in the form of a pattern as the subject that was exposed to the radiation. Now, what does it mean? If there are more rays passing through the subject, there will be more falling on the film and it will look as a black. If radiation is absorbed, if the excess do not fall on the film, then what you will get is a white. And in between are the gray shades. Now, the energy deposited into the film is in the same pattern as subject that was exposed to the radiation. So when it is absorbed totally, it is white. When it is not absorbed, it is black. This invisible image is known as the latent image. A latent image on the photographic or radiographic film is an invisible image produced by the exposure of the film to light, or that is radiation. Now, try to understand. When the X-rays passes through the body, they falls on the film, and on the film they can fall by two ways. One thing is they can fall directly X-ray on the film, or they can hit the intensifying screen, and intensifying screen can convert it into a visible light. So X-ray film is sensitive for both the things. It is sensitive to X-rays, so also for the visible light. So that's why it is said that light or radiation. The manifest image. By chemically processing, the latent image is made visible. Now, certain chemical permanently fixate the image onto the film. Now, formation of latent image. Metallic silver is black. So, it is this metallic silver that produces black areas on a developed film. Now, exposure of a silver iodobromide grains to light photons emitted by screen directly X-rays exposure initiate the formation of atomic silver into a visible pattern. So, latent image formation, the light photon absorbed, then electron trapped, negative electron attracted, then silver combined to form a neutral black silver, then accumulate at the specs. It becomes a latent image center, that is, it is developable. Now here we are seeing how the silver and bromide are coated over the film and how they become black on a sensitivity peak. Now, film processing. The series of events after the film is exposed to the X-rays occurs. Now, the film has to undergo multiple stages. That is, first a film is loaded, then it is loaded in the hanger. So that hanger is put into the developer. Then after developer, it is put into the rinser. Then it is then put into the fixer and then into the water for drying. So these are the steps development. It is the first stage in the process of radiograph. Then it amplifies latent image by, see, it is 100 lakhs time. The primary purpose is to convert visible latent image into the visible form, and processing initiates at the latent image specs. Now, chemistry of the developer. Development is a process of chemical reduction. The reduction is achieved by developer donating electrons to the silver ions in the exposed silver bromide and iodine grain, converting them into the atoms of the metallic silver. It is shown down the process. The mode of action of developer is not fully understood, but the existence of electron charge barriers around the halides grain is thought to be involved in this process. Now, constituents of the developer. What the developer has got? It has got a developer, and second is called a replenisher. These are different. A developer is made initially and replenisher is added into it later on as and when required. So let us see them to combinedly. A solvent, that is the developing agent. Then it has got accelerators, buffers, restrainers, preservatives, hardeners and sequestrating agents. Now, solvent. Water is the solvent commonly used in a replenisher solution. This also controls developer activity by diluting its effects. Now, what does it mean? Developer can be in a very concentrated form. Once it is mixed with the water, it can be diluted and it can have a uniform spreading action. It has a softening effect on the gelatin, thus allowing the developing chemicals to penetrate the emulsion and act on the silver halides. The presence of calcium salts in the water, that is the hard water, may form a chalky deposits or second on the surface of the film. Obviously, it means that we have to use a soft water or we should not use a borewell water. More serious would be contamination of the solvent with dissolved metals like copper and iron. The presence of only a fewer parts of the per million copper could have caused a chemical fogging. So they cause artifacts. In practice, such effects are extremely rare since we use a direct tap water which do not have such thing. It is low in the salts since it is a tap water or river water, or second, it do not have presence of copper. So the fogging is not caused. Now, developing agents. These are the reducing agents which carry out the primary function of supplying electron that converts the exposed silver halide grains to the silver. Now, what is its characteristic? Sensitivity, high activity, then selectivity, and activity tends to be a antagonistic properties. The agent with high activity generally has low sensitivity and vice versa. Should be resistant to the bromide ions in these solutions. Now, no single agent satisfies all these requirements. Modern X-ray developers are used as a combination of two developing agents, that is phenolidine and hydroquinone, known as PQ developer. Now, phenidone is a quick-acting reducing agent capable of developing all exposed silver halide grains. However, its sensitivity is low and if used alone would result in a high fog levels. So we want a clear image. Now, hydroquinone requires a strong alkaline medium for its action. Now, this is more selective than phenidone, but slower in onset of the action. Once the action has begun, the development process vigorously, although highly exposed grains are not affected by the hydroquinone. Thus, this is the constituency of the PQ developers. Now, this is the reaction. Now, it involves donation of electron by developing agents to form a metallic silver by silver ion with inactivation of the developing agent and liberation of the hydrogen ions. Now, advantage of the PQ developers. The tolerant of increase in bromine ion concentration, high selectivity and low chemical fog, adequate additivity even in low concentrations, available in liquid concentrate form. Fast acting, adequate contrast it gives, and super additive effects are seen with this. Now there are accelerators. PQ developer needs alkaline medium for their action that we have already seen in an earlier section. Now these include sodium hydroxide, sodium carbonate or borates because they are alkaline and they make the media alkaline. We need a pH of 10 to 11 for good developing process. This alkali is known as accelerator since its effect is to accelerate the developing process. Now it has also got buffers. It has the effect of maintaining the pH of the solution within closed limits. So buffers, they try to buffer the changes in the pH. Normally, adequate buffering action is provided by carbonates used as accelerators and sulfide used as preventives, as preservatives. Now, thus, no additional buffers are necessary in our routine practice. Now, antifogants or restrainants decrease the formation of fog. Fog is the development. What's the meaning of fog? Fog is the development of exposed silver halide grains that do not contain a latent image. So our point of view, they are not forming a useful image. It also decreases the development of the latent image. So it hinders in the process of developing. Now antifogants permits rapid development of exposed grains at higher temperature with minimized fog development. The development process itself produces as a byproduct potassium bromide, which is a very effective restrainer. So the developer replenisher need not include potassium bromide along its constituents. However, it is usual to provide a powerful restrainer or antifogants such as benzotriazole. Now, what are the preservatives? That is sodium sulfide. Oxidation products of developing agent forms colored material that can stain the emulsions. The sodium sulfide form colorless soluble products after combining with colored oxidized products of developing agents, that is the sulfonates. It acts as a preservative by preventing oxidation of the hydroquinone by dissolving oxygen into the solution and at the interface, that is the developer tank at the top where there is a air above it, that is interface. Now hardeners, a powerful organic hardener such as butyraldehyde, which can prevent the excessive swelling of the gelatin in the emulsion when it is absorbed water, is used in the development process. Now if the emulsion is over hardened, the speed with which the developing agent penetrates the silver halides grains are reduced. So it should be a balance. Now sequestrating agents. What is the meaning of sequestrating agents? They prevent precipitation of the insoluble mineral salt which tend to occur in hard water. Compound based on EDTA are used for this purpose, and there are some others like bactericides and fungicides, since the darkroom is a dark place, that number one, and the chemicals are often used once a month or sometime more or less times. Now rinsing. Rinsed for about 30 seconds in running water is what is advisable or what is a requirement. This will remove the developer diffuse into the gelatin. Now if the rinsing is not there, then the speed of development will be reduced. Now let us come to replenishment. During development, bromide ions are released by the reduction of silver ions to atom, and they pass into the solution to increase Br concentration, bromide concentration, which limits the life of the developing solution. So each and every film that is proceeded will deplete the bromides. Now the purpose is to maintain, that is the purpose of replenisher to maintain is one, developing agent concentration should be maintained. Number 2, it should prevent it should act as a preservative. Then bromide concentration and pH at constant level should be maintained. During the process of development, the developing agent preservatives are consumed and hydrogen bromide are increased. Now chemistry. Here we are showing this. Bromide and acid are formed, pH is lowered in this process. Developer is consumed because it receives a dry film and it puts out a wet film. So along with each film, certain part of developer gets ahead. Now developer is consumed. Replenisher formula has a higher pH concentration, contains no bromides. So it should know it gives only the one that is depleted in the process. So replenisher does the work of replacing those which are consumed in a developing process and to keep the concentration of developer as a new or as a fresh. The rate of replenishment is 60 ml of developer is replaced with replenisher for each 14-17 film. Oxidation reaction. As it is seen, pH is raised, no bromide is produced. Then replenisher formulas have a lower pH, contains bromide and high sulfite concentration to retard the oxidation process, and rate of replenishment is 90 ml. The developer is replaced with a replenisher for each 14-17 film. Rate is higher to increase the developer turnover rate. Now, factors affecting development. 1. Constituency of the developing solution. Number 2. Developer temperature. Number 3. Development time. Let us see them one after another. First is constitution of the developing solution. For a practical level of exposed image, the density depends on the emulsion characteristics and on the developing activity. The developer activity is influenced by choice of developing agent and their relative proportion. Then concentration of the developing agent in a solution, pH of the developer solution, and concentration of the replenisher and defogants. Now, effect of the image of increased temperature. If you increase the temperature, what happens to image is what we are going to see now. Slightly raise of temperature causes increased image density for the same exposure. Thus, increase film speed. That means you can get film developed faster. Number 2, you need less exposure to give while taking a radiograph. Now, slightly increase chemical fog. Then after slight increase, there will be a chemical fog, that is increased image contrast. Then more rise in temperature, what will happen is the gross increase in density, unacceptable increase in the chemical fog, and reduction in a contrast. Now, effects of the image of decreased temperature. If the temperature decreased, what will happen? If the temperature rises, if the temperature rise is left uncorrected, the developer becomes exhausted, resulting in low density and high concentration. Okay, let me repeat this slide again. Effect of image of decreased temperature. That means if the overall temperature of the developer fixer is decreased, what will happen? If the temperature rises, is left uncorrected, the developer becomes exhausted, resulting into the low density and high contrast. A more severe fall in the temperature lead to gross overall reduction in density and loss of contrast. Now let's come to the third point. Now we are seeing the factors affecting development, as it is said 1, 2, 3. Now we are at the third point. Defined as the time between the developing time is defined as the time between the entry of the specified part of the film into the developing solution and then exit from the developing solution of the same part of the film. Now factors determining developing time is the developer activity, then type of emulsion. Developer solution takes longer time to penetrate a thick emulsion than a thin one. Then non-strain film require a longer time to develop. Now agitation of the developer solution. This is a problem in automatic processor because of the contrast motion of the solution caused by the roller mechanism. So agitation of the developer, how we take into consideration manual is once the film is put inside the chemical, we have to agitate so that every time a new developer will come in contact with the film. Now fixing, it has four major functions: to stop the further development, making it acidic. Number two, clear the image by removing the remaining silver halide from the emulsion, and to fix the image no longer sensitive to light. Otherwise, once we take them out to the department, it will become change in the characters. So it should remain same, and to complete the process of hardening of the film of the emulsions. Now constituents of fixers are solvent, fixing agent, acid, hardeners, buffers, preservatives, and anti-sludging agents. Now solvent is the water, easily available. Now fixing agents are, there are two agents, that is the cyanides is a poisonous, not generally used, and second is thiosulfates, that is sodium and aluminum salts, more active and called as hypo in our routine language or when we talk in the department. Then acid, it prevents dichloric fog by inhibiting developing agents, provides a suitable environment for the hardening agents in the fixer. The acetic acid is used usually at the pH of 4 to 4.5. Now what are the hardeners? They reduces drying time and prevent physical damage. Then aluminum chloride and aluminum sulfates are the two which we use commonly. And what are the buffers now? Point number 5, prevents sulfurization, neutralize the developer, optimize the hardener activity, and sodium acetate is commonly used in the conjunction with acetic acid for this. Now preservatives, retards decomposition of the thiosulfates, and sodium sulfate is commonly used, and anti-sludging agents, that is boric acid, is commonly used and this prevents sludging of the insoluble aluminum compounds in the hardener. Now washing, a simple thing. Film must be washed well with the water after developing and fixing. Removes all the thiosulfides complexes. Tap water is a satisfactory washing medium. In 90 seconds cycle, about 15 seconds is allowed for the washing of stage. While in manual processing, a minimum time of 10 minutes is advisable so that full chemicals on the film will get washed away. Then incomplete wash will cause retention of hypo, and that will react with the silver to form a silver sulfide acquiring brown color, and that will not be acceptable once the film is undergoing aging. The films will start looking brown if the washing is not properly done. Now drying all the surface water and most of the retained in the emulsion should be removed. So drying, first the water is removed, along with the water the retained chemicals are reduced. Then the drying medium is dry air of the low humidity, which accelerates the evaporation process and reduces the drying time. Then heated air can retain more moisture than cold air and is therefore a more effective drying medium. However, the excess use of the heat may damage the film emulsion and film may get crumpled. Air temperature between 40 to 65 are usually recommended. Now, in this part 1, we have seen the historical aspect. We have seen how the development of films have started right from the glass till emulsified polyester base. What are the advantages, disadvantages? Then what are the constituents of the film layer? Then how the developing takes place, how the fixing takes place, and how the films are dried. So that was a wet processing. Now we have seen briefly, again I am repeating, the historical aspect, then constituents of the film, details of the manual processing, then chemical constituents of the developer, fixer and instance, That was the part 1, and here we conclude and come to end of the part 1. In part 2, we are going to see more about the darkroom, automatic processor, etc. Now, I thank you for giving me your valuable time. Please note, radiology is not a race. It's a process. Be a part of this and enjoy the feast of knowledge. I, Dr. Anil Joshi, logs off till we meet today. Understand the chemistry behind, understand how the fogs occur, understand what gives a better image, understand what deteriorates the image, and try to understand what is the importance of each developing, rinsing, fixing with the help of chemistry, so that you can keep the records. You can get the films in such a way which can be retained for a long time without getting or without losing any detail. With this, let's say goodbye and meet in the part 2. Thank you. Take care.